Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elkanah, and welcome to Premarket Info.
The dogs, they're still barking here, Joel. Lots of the stocks that we were talking about a couple weeks ago, like your Hewlett Packards, like your Research and Motions, and now like your Best Buys, are still rallying. And and Best Buy is rallying significantly here this morning. It's trading over $14 right now after closing at $12.18. Dow Jones reporting that they might get a $5 to $6 billion bid from Schultze. CVS raises guidance. And Apple just continues to hang out here in the 530s. Let's start with Best Buy, Joel. This stock is rocking and rolling here this morning, trading $14.05 now. Is this going to be the real bid from Schultze, or is this just another one of those sell the rally and Schultze never bids?
Well, he's been coming in periodically here. I think one thing you have to pay attention to is 600,000 shares have traded in the pre-market, so a little bit credence to this. Also, you have the fact that a lot of people are still short this stock, and
wow. How can you be short this stock now?
Getting it. Well, what do you mean? I mean, look at the trend.
Yeah, but look at the $12. It's been forming a bottom. All of the other stocks have been rallying, like your Research and Motions. You've got to look at all the dogs in the whole. Like Hewlett Packard's been taking off every single day. Research and Motion continues to fly. I think it was just a matter of time before Best Buy starts to take off. Obviously, it's moving up on the news, although the rumor that Schultze might actually bid for it. But you knew this was on the table. You knew it's been talked about for the last year. It's formed a bottom. It's got, a lot of value down here right now. I don't know. I think if you're short this thing,
I'm not short.
I'm just saying but you were saying some people are short. I'm saying,
right.
Man, if you were short this thing, you deserve what you get, because there has been rumors out here forever on this, and it's been forming a bottom here like crazy in this 12 area, and now it takes off.
Well, you could say the same thing, though, back in October
True.
when it was hugging the $17 level. But anyway, strictly technically speaking, because that's what we do here at Premarket Info, 14.08's been the high in the pre-market. That's filling a gap here up to that we had back in November. So 14.30 will be your next resistance level. After that, you're getting a lot of air into $15.
That's all air.
If you really want to be patient on this, maybe wait for it to come back down to this 1250 area. You had 7 highs in a row between 1238 and 1250. That's where we broke out from. That will be your major support.
Yeah, it's all air here. Hard to say come in here or buy or sell it, because it's all going to be based on Schultz's next move. They were calculating it out. It could be as high as $17 a share, the bid, if he actually does, if it does come to fruition for once. The only difference is this time I'm feeling like it was trading up after hours last night. It's trading up even more this morning. I feel like it's more substantial, substantial rumor this time. So I wouldn't say come out here and buy it at 14. You're risking 2 points for fun if you're buying it at 14. But if it gets taken over 17, you're getting 3 points. So I don't know. It's kind of a coin flip here, maybe, if you're buying it up here. But congratulations. I know I got a few trader friends that were long the thing down here. Congratulations to anyone who is holding it long into this. Obviously, you're already 2 points ahead. It's just formed a great bottom down here. It was really consolidating nicely, and considering how some of these other dogs have been moving. We talked about the dogs in an article a couple weeks ago. We did a show on them saying that a lot of these dogs are starting to look good. We were looking at Hewlett Packard, which obviously has continued to run. Look at this Hewlett Packard chart, Joel. This thing's just a steady trend up. I mean, eventually, these trends do break, and the stock's still fundamentally not that sound, but you can't argue with that trend.
Yeah, you could draw a nice trend line off that 1135 low, and I know that marked a multi-year low in the stock, so we can keep an eye on that trend line. Looking at it, seems like you're going to run into a little trouble here at the $15 level. You had a high at $14.98 on October 5th, and a high at $15.12 a high at $14.98 on the 4th, and a high at $15.12 on the 5th. So that looks to be some major resistance here. Also, with a little stretch of the imagination, you could be looking at a head and shoulders bottom there.
Yeah, you really could actually. You can see the left shoulder here, and then the head, and now it's been climbing up here. If it consolidates here for a little bit, totally. I mean, these dogs, it's funny. It's going kind of opposite to what you think. Usually in December they start to sell off. People doing tax loss. They're not doing that this year. Probably for the simple reason the capital gains stuff. It's
Yep,
kind of
yep.
backwards. They're selling some of the winners and buying the losers. So it's kind of backwards. Maybe this all reverts back to norm in January. But just look at a stock like Research in Motion too. Man, this stock has absolutely taken off in the last month. Beginning in November it was $8. It's now 13.31. Stock is just running.
Yeah.
13.59 this morning too.
Yep, up again in the pre-market. Looking at the pre-market high here, 1365. Boom, right on the nose. Trading only 6 cents away from there. Had a really nice day yesterday. 1334 was the high, so we'll keep an eye on that as minor support. Going to the charts here, I mean, we're not too far away from that magical $14 number. Even though there's nothing significant in the chart, I'm sure there are few people are using that as a target, especially if you're looking for a doubler. If you bought it under 7, 1442 was the high on May 1st of this year, so that would be your next major resistance point. And you know what? I'm keeping my BlackBerry, man. I'm not getting that iPhone, man. That thing is just too complicated for. I mean, I don't even use all the functions on my BlackBerry. Why in the hell would I get an iPhone?
Let's look at a few other of these dogs that have been moving. Alcoa actually starting to break out here as well. It's had a nice couple of weeks here since trading at 835. Slowly moved up, slowly climbing. 865 here this morning. I don't see a heck of a lot up until you get up to 880 there, Joel.
Yeah, double top 872. So we'll keep an eye on that in the pre-market as well during the session. 880 was the high back on October 6th. That's not too far from there. Maybe maybe in another month or two, it'll reach $9.
First Solar, another one of those ones that they had thrown out the window. Had a great day yesterday. Did pull back though after topping out at 33.15 yesterday. Pulled back, closed near the lows of the day, which is somewhat concerning here. You never like to see the stock top out and then all of a sudden go for that steep sell-off. I think this thing gets back into the upper 32s or even mid 32s. It's probably going to find a few sellers.
Yeah, I mean, there's several trend lines here that you can draw, but going off that 22.62 low, you can bump up against those lows that you had at the end of November too, as a point of support. It has had it's kind of a sneaky doubler here.
It
It just
is.
didn't. Yeah, it had a couple bad days. Looking at the chart, going way back, you did have a high at 34.01 back on the 29th of February, quite a ways away from there. But when things get like this, I like to keep an eye on the highest close of the recent move. The highest close of the recent move has been $32. So I use that as a swing number. Looks like if you break below 31.39, it looks like a slippery slope down to 30.20.
I'm going to highlight a few of these other ones here for you pretty
Okay.
rapidly. AMD. Look at this one. When we were talking about it was at $1.85. It's now 237. Looking like if it got above that 250 area, it could run even farther. A couple of these education stocks, ESI and Apollo Group, have both had pretty good runs here. Both looking pretty strong here on the chart. It's the same story. All these dogs continue to bark.
What about J.C. Penney?
Yeah, J.C. Penney's another one too. We talked about it when it was around 17.5, saying these dogs are starting to bark. It's now 19.5. I mean, really, that dog portfolio from a couple of weeks ago is really outperforming the market. I'll tell you that. So it's funny when these dogs start coming around. There's a lot of people short them. You get short squeezes. You get people picking bottoms. You get lots of sentiment change, and all of a sudden, these things are hot to trot, and they are moving higher.
What about a dog that's starting to run out of steam here?
Which one? You got one on your mind here?
Well, we haven't talked about Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Well, I don't know if you can call that one a dog or not, but obviously it's had a hell of a run here. A little concerning. We thought yesterday it might break out. Had a reversal day. 28.14 is right around where it topped out. It opened 28, topped out 28.14, closed 27.58. It needs to get above that 28.14, 28.24 area. If it doesn't get above there in the next day or two, I'm starting to get concerned.
Yeah, I know I've been a kind of like a perma bull since 42 on this Facebook,
42.
and
We're
the
not going to
blog
give
I
you
put.
props on Facebook.
Yeah, the blog I put out a little bit ago, I thought it might had the mo to get the $30. Like our traders to be aware of this 28 14 to 28-24 level. That encompasses the last three highs, so that is now major resistance. Sellers are stepping down off that 28.88 high. I bet you things start getting stacked up at 28 now. The other thing I'd like to point out to our traders is that when you have a nice move here, like you have, I mean, under when it made the all-time low at 1755, or even the move from 20, there was some expanded range days on the way up, and now you're consolidating. Okay,
Big time.
and when you have this kind of consolidation after a trend, sometimes it signals a reversal in the trend. I would say if this thing takes out the double bottom at 2682 to 2684, it's time to hit the exit in Facebook.
Yeah, that's definitely where I would look to hit the exit button too. But if you have a reference point on the upside too, so if you're trying to short, if you want to play from the short side, if it got above 28.24, 28.25, like start trading 28.35, 28.40, then it's going to start to make a run for that 28.88 and possibly take that out. So obviously this whole $28 area is starting to become resistant. So if you're willing to risk 30 cents or so, maybe there's a potential short
A
trade
whole
there
30
too.
cents? A whole 30
If you're
cents?
willing to risk it, if you're willing to risk 30 cents, I think you can make a couple of bucks. I like the risk return both ways, really. But you just got to use those reference points. So your exit button on this, or it's below that 2684 level if you're buying the thing, and if you're selling the thing, your exit button's probably above that 2830, 2840 area is where I'd hit the exit button, cover my short. So you got two nice reference points going both directions. So you can argue a trade in either way there. It's a nice thing about technical analysis.
You can make up whatever you want.
Yeah, you kind of can. CVS, let's move on to. It's actually raising guidance here today, 384 to 398 from 381. They're raising their quarterly dividend from 22 and a half or up to 22 and a half cents. I think it was down at 19. So nice little quarterly dividend raise too. Stock is trading up significantly. 49.60 is where it's trading at in the pre-market. Closed at 47.54. I'm looking at this 49. I'm looking right here. It's actually 49.23 is where the high is from October. $50
Yeah.
I gotta think is absolutely enormous. I'd be shocked if this thing got over 50, but you never know.
Yeah, 49. Obviously, someone was thinking that in the pre-market. 49.90 high in the pre-market. Since we've hit that level, we backed off. We held 49.40. I would hasten to say I doubt this thing is going to open up above 49.50. I mean, you got it up here on 35,000 shares, and here's a stock that trades, several million in a day.
Yeah.
I don't know. That 49, I mean, there has to be some orders in there of 49.23 at the least. 49, a nice round whole number. I think if this thing, opens up anywhere near the levels that it's trading at now, you can use that pre-market high of 49.90 as a stop out point. But I don't think it's even going to get there during the regular session.
All right, you
Right?
just talked me into it, Joe. I shorted a little bit here in the 49.60 area, so we'll find out how that works or not. But we'll see how that works out. So Joel talked me into that trade. He convinced me. Let's talk about Apple here. Obviously, this is consolidated nicely in the last few days in the 530s. I've said before, though, I don't like it when Apple consolidates. I always feel like when it's consolidating, too many people start picking the bottom, and then the market wants to wash them out. So I'm somewhat concerned that it has hung out here almost too long. Like, we were 3 days ago trading around the 530s, and then we got up. We had that nice run a couple days ago up to 548, but we pulled back and traded in the 530s again. Yesterday morning, we opened high, ran all the way back in the 530s again. I keep thinking if it keeps trading these 530s, I think it might be due to break down then.
Yeah, well, you got a nice formation here. It's currently trading right around yesterday's low, 536.27. Previous day's low was 537.37. So that's about as close to a double bottom as you're going to get in a big cap stock like this. 535.65 is a pre-market low. What I've been noticing about this, and a couple days ago when this thing rallied up to 550. when it rolled over, when the market rolled over, I mean, it just gave it
It
back. There
does.
were,
Yeah, it
yeah, I mean,
washes through. There's air in those 540s. It feels like when it just trades, it trades right through the whole thing all the way up and all the way down. I mean, how
yeah,
many times has it, broke over 540 and then boom, it's up at almost 550. Then, it starts to sell off and it's up at 547 and boom, it's back down under 540 and then boom, it opens up over 5. It's just air in those 540s.
yeah, and I think the 530s is starting to get a little bit of stubborn here. So you have a 521.58 low on the 10th, and then you go back, and on the 6th you had the 518.63 level. So if you're really trying to be patient on the short side, look for that 520 level to cover.
I'd get bullish when this thing starts trading up significantly over 550, closing over
Yep,
550.
I agree. I
Hard to
totally
get bullish
agree.
before then. I think, it's a little bit of a coin flip here, but I'm just somewhat, just for my own way of thinking, as you've seen people talk about, oh, Apple's forming a bottom, oh, it's, whenever they start talking about that, I feel like there's so many people that are probably picking that bottom that is probably going to go the other way. So
What about the death
the
cross?
death cross, oh, the 50 and the 200 cross. You notice
Oh,
something on our charts, folks? A little trading lesson here for you. I don't have any moving averages up there, not a one. I don't believe in moving averages. I don't believe. You believe in moving averages, Joel? Do you use those moving averages?
they're good the day after.
The day after. There, it's a
Or an
lagging
exponential.
indicator. It's a
Yeah,
lagging
an
indicator.
exponential moving average with a 3 and 5 day diastolic relative
We're
strength is
probably going to get some emails here from cutting up moving averages, but I don't have any moving averages on my charts. We're always talking about levels, keeping it simple. We look at highs, lows, trends, and closes. I mean, that's the technical analysis that we use here on the show. Keeping it simple has worked for me for 13 years. Maybe moving averages works for some other traders, has never worked for me. That's why I don't talk about moving averages, because I've just never really had any luck with them. So if you've had luck with them, keep trading your moving averages or whatever, but I'm just not a big fan of them.
All right, just to close out the show, just going back to the overall market, it was a breakout that turned to be a fake out. How often has that been the theme in this market?
Yeah, we got up there yesterday, and then Bernanke started speaking right around, and then it just started to peel back. So here's, we spiked up there on when they came out and talked about the QE forever, but then Bernanke started talking, and he kept, and they were asking him questions, and I guess everybody didn't like the answers to the questions because he'd sold off about 80 Dow points or about 7.5 S&P points as he was talking. We've consolidated here overnight, but we are drifting down here again. Little bit concerning that we didn't hold those gains from the QE forever.
Yeah, I mean you can draw some trend lines here, certainly off that the recent low that we had basis the December contract at
Right.
1340, and then you basis the December contract again 1368.
Pretty steep.
You can kind of draw like a
I
little
got it.
pennant going on here, folks, and that's a pretty steep trend line to hold coming off the bottom. We'll see if we can come and hold those lows in the 1405 to 1410 area. Boy, we're just either at the top of a multi-year trading range here, or just a pause in the great bull market since 2009.
Well, that's our show for today. Don't forget that those dogs are barking, but they don't bark forever, so don't get married to any of those positions. But their dogs are in favor, at least here for right now. That's our show for today. Have a great trading day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.